If you had some extra money right now, what would you spend it on? Would you treat yourself to something now? Or put it towards something special? Treat yourself with the savings you'll get from participating in the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. Our rebates help your dollars go further so you can spend more on the things you enjoy. Visit peoplesgasrebates.com/treat and learn how much you can save with the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. That's peoplesgasrebates.com/treat.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dirt. Want to thank you for taking some time out to listen to the podcast of our show, brought to you by Les Schwab Tires, doing the right thing since 1952.
I gotta catch a glimpse of these warlocks. Let's make a move.
He's going around the corner.
Come on.
It's time for Dirt and Sprague.
True love is hard to find. Sometimes you think you have true love, and then you catch the early flight home from San Diego, and a couple of nude people jump out of your bathroom blindfolded.
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
We should mate.
What?
Date. I said we should date sometime, socially. Go out and kick it.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080.
You're pretty sick, Chubbs.
The Fan.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2, Dirt and Sprague here on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. I mentioned Mark Schlabach. He wrote on ESPN, the Pac-12 should just stop playing football except Oregon.
People were pretty upset with old Mark Schlabach in this neck of the woods.
It's a bit extreme. I mean, it's like, bro, we don't all have Alabama and Georgia in our conference. Let's not act like everybody's looking elite anyway.
He also said, I believe in there, that Iowa's wins over Iowa State and Indiana are more impressive than what Oregon's done because of their win over Ohio State.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher too.
It's a bit of a take. I think Ohio State's a better program than Iowa State and Indiana combined. They don't lose regular season games, especially at home. So I don't quite understand the reason for that take, but hey, I guess we'll find out at the end of the year. Does Iowa play Ohio State? Are they in the same division? I believe they are.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't
I'd have
either.
to look up the schedule.
I don't either, but we'll find out if they have to play later on in the year.
Tough day for the Pac-12, tough day for Newburgh. We just can't win out here in the West Coast.
Wait, you're telling me that putting on blackface and saying that I'm Rosa Parks is a bad idea?
Hold on.
You're telling me I don't think that's a bad idea. Is
You're
that a bad
telling
idea?
me a predominantly white state has absolute racism all over.
Am
I'm
I allowed
shocked.
to do that?
Stunned.
It is amazing. I remember I took a history, like State of Oregon Black History class in college. Oh my God, the things that we don't learn, just incredible.
Oh
Until
yeah,
you
we
take
didn't learn any of our state history
none
at
of that
all growing
stuff.
up
And I
at
took
Park
one of those
Rose.
classes in college, and I was like, wait a minute, this is Oregon? This is our background?
Had no idea.
Holy hell, man. Yeah, there's a memo for you. Wearing blackface and acting like you're Rosa Parks, not a great idea. Rather offensive and rather racist. And, not okay.
That teacher been fired yet?
I don't believe so. I think administrative leave, and it's not a teacher. I think I read it's a
Faculty member?
special ed assistant kind of thing situation.
Oh, even better.
So there you go.
Yeah, okay.
They also, and I didn't realize this either because I don't follow the local school news, had kids joking
Oh, they did a
about
TikTok, Snapchat thing.
trading slaves or something like that.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
It's a double whammy right there.
Newburgh, what are you doing?
Come on, Newburgh.
What are we doing
Get
here?
your act together.
I think they also banned flags from being waved.
Okay.
Like rainbow flags. Or
they don't allow those.
If a kid wanted to fly the Black Lives Matter, like all that stuff, they banned it.
No flags.
Yeah, so that's actually how this whole thing started. They banned that.
Banned flags.
And then
Like
they
all
had,
flags? Can you fly the American flag?
I think that's the only
That's
one
the
you
only
should fly.
one. Now,
yes.
in every variation of the American flag or just the American flag?
Out there, I would venture to say ones with blue lines through them, red lines through them, green lines through them, and
Those
then the
are okay.
regular ones. Those are the only acceptable ones out in Newburgh.
What if I have a rainbow American flag?
Get that out of here.
Okay, what if I have an Oregon Duck American flag?
Nope, not
allowed?
appropriate.
Okay.
Not
sorry.
appropriate.
Sorry, I'll go put it away.
They might be Beaver fans out there. I don't know.
They could be. I don't know what they got going on in
They had
Newburgh.
that. Then they had the Snapchat thing where the students were caught just doing the worst possible thing you could do with fellow classmates. And then they had this. They had a teacher show up in blackface. And they got administrative leave. The fact that you work in an industry, could you imagine, would you be on administrative leave if you showed up somewhere in blackface? Would our company
I
puts
have
you on
a
administrative leave.
Feeling that I would be fired right away. We also don't have a radio union, though. I don't know if she's a part of a teachers union, so there's probably that headache that they now have to deal with.
Very much a part of a union.
Yeah.
It is extremely difficult to just...
But when does the union go, hey, blackface, not something we're fighting together
They don't.
for?
The union always sticks together in those kind of cases.
All right, well.
Yeah, they band together. They're going to stick up for this gal.
You
I'd
get what you
imagine.
ask for then.
Yeah.
Good luck to
Can
you.
you imagine the reaction if you were a student at that school or at your high school? One of your teachers walks in with blackface yelling, I'm Rosa Parks. Like, what the hell is the matter with you?
The minute I see you do it, I'm saying,
is wrong?
Why did you do this?
How did you get to this mental state that you think that's a good idea?
Probably Facebook would be my best guess because Facebook's... Did you see that, by the way?
I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up in blackface.
We'll get to the Pac-12 quarterback stuff in a minute. Did you see that Facebook story? It kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, I did see this.
Facebook officials are now worried that they can't control Facebook anymore.
They've lost their Frankenstein. The beast is out.
Facebook is so ginormous and so overrun that they can no longer control what's being shared or not shared on their platform. It has gotten way away from, to your point, it is Frankenstein now.
It's gone, baby.
And there are some people within Facebook telling Mark Zuckerberg, can we dismantle this company? This needs to end. And Zuckerberg's not going to do it because he's making billions upon billions.
Yeah, there was a story that came out, too, that 140 million Americans a month are reached by troll farms. So basically fake accounts that just post stuff to just get you to react and get you... 140 million Americans a month are reached by that.
I mean, I'll say this.
Get off of Facebook, people. There's your flash headline for the day.
Yeah.
There is no purpose of being on it. It serves no good. Just get off the damn thing. If you want to stay in contact with people, text message them. It's that simple.
Nobody on this show has a Facebook account.
No, I don't. It's the best decision I ever made was to get off Facebook. I work on the wife day in and day out. Get off that damn... What the hell are you still doing on Facebook? Get off of that crap.
When my wife mentions Facebook, I'm always like, look, you got Instagram and that's bad enough because Facebook owns that too.
Yes, it's in the same family.
But you should just get off that. And she doesn't really get on it too much, but I'm always harping on people because if there's anything I've learned during the pandemic, it's seeing where people get information or confronting people's information that's fascinating to me.
Sure.
Like I've had a lot of misinformation stuff about vaccines and COVID. And when I don't push back aggressively, but when I'm like, where did you read that? Like I have somebody in my life that constantly tells me, oh, so and this and this and this. And I go, where did you get that? They never quite tell you the website.
Facebook.
Or, yeah, they'll cite, oh, I saw it shared on Facebook. And I just think that's not credible at all.
It's crazy what it turned into, isn't it? Because we were in college when Facebook came out. And Facebook, when it started, was just for college kids. You had to have a college email address to join. Like, that was the whole point of it, was for a website for college kids to get to know and connect and all that kind of crap. And I remember it being a big deal when it first started. It's amazing how different you feel about it, 12, 13 years later.
I mean, it used to be for us to pick up ladies. Like, can we be honest about it?
That's
it was
how
all
it
about
started.
sex.
It was about, they had like a hot rating for chicks. Like, that's how Zuckerberg's thing started, wasn't it? Like rating the women at their university.
If you're to believe the Aaron Sorkin movie, yeah. And it all sounds like, too, that it was, created by relationship status, single, not single, et cetera.
Find out if that girl has a boyfriend.
Not a great day for our state. And an awful day for Newberg.
Figure it out, Newberg. Get your ass together. What the hell are you doing?
Racism not cool.
Come on.
FYI, 2021, racism not cool.
No, there's your memo of the day.
Is our conference going to suck forever at the quarterback position? Is Anthony Brown the best quarterback in the Pac-12?
No, I don't think so.
Then who is? Because I thought about this. I can't give you anybody else that I would pick above him.
I don't know why I cape up for this guy so much. He wasn't awful on Saturday, but they did lose. I don't think it was largely his fault. I still think Dorian Thompson-Robinson has a strong case to be made.
See, here's my only pushback on that. What Fresno did so well to win that game, they stopped the run. You slow down the UCLA run, you put Chip in a passing situation, you're going to have a great shot. Chip Kelly is entirely about the running game. And if he doesn't have that, I don't think he's a very good coach. And what happened on Saturday with Fresno State is they were able to box him up early, able to kind of limit them a little bit, keep themselves just around a hang, and they put DTR in passing situations. He had some good moments, but I don't know how much I really trust him to go win games with his arm versus use his legs, use the running backs, use the running game that they have with Chip.
I mean, he's a better runner. There's no doubt about that. But I think in modern football, when I'm evaluating quarterbacks, I have to use that as a metric. Like Lamar Jackson isn't the most prolific passer in the NFL, but his legs puts him in that category as one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. And I disagree with you slightly because UCLA scored 37 points in that game. 37. Now, a lot of it did come late. They were bottled up in the first half. It took them a long time to get going. You score 37 points in a game. He had 278 yards and 3 touchdown passes. Also ran it for 67 yards. Like, that should be enough to... They lost that game because their defense just collapsed down the stretch and couldn't come up with stops against a quarterback that was hobbling on one side and could barely stand at the line of scrimmage. They gave up 40 points. It's just a horrific defensive performance by UCLA.
It was more about defense than anything of that game.
I understand.
For UCLA,
he's not the most prolific passer. Like, I don't trust his arm, but when I combine the total package of the offense that he plays in and his skill set, I still would probably put him near the top of the list. I mean, outside of that, though, it was...
Like, Jaden Daniels hasn't been all that impressive this year.
No, he hasn't at Arizona State. And Keaton Slovis was supposed to be the guy that was running... he's a top 10 pick kind of potential out of USC, and now we're wondering if he's in a quarterback controversy. Daniels, to your point, has 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the year, I believe.
I don't mean to ask this from a bias perspective and shoot it down if you just disagree. Is there a chance that if I'm doing a poll question of who is the best quarterback in the conference, Chance Nolan is in the top 4 of that question?
I would say let's take a deep breath because he's played in starting roles against Hawaii and Idaho.
And he's been dominant, and those are powerhouse programs, as we know.
Are neither of those things,
Come on,
but he has
juggernauts.
played very good.
I'd put his name on the list.
Okay, so take Chance off then. That's fine.
Well, no, fine. Put Chance on.
What 4 players would you pick? That's the thing. You got to find teams like Dylan Morris. Would you rather have Chance Nolan or Dylan Morris?
No, Dylan Morris has been awful. DTR is definitely on that list.
DTR's on there. Anthony
Jaden
Brown
is probably not playing this weekend, and he didn't even start the season as
I don't know
their
if I could put Slovis on now because he got hurt.
Yeah, if you're going to go the Chance Nolan route, I would find you a Chance Nolan and submit a Tanner McKee to that conversation, a guy that started in week 2 who has been lights out for them in both of his starts.
He's making Stanford look like Stanford again.
Yes.
And I'm totally with you there. I didn't really think Chance Nolan. I think he's close. I just didn't know of the 4 quarterbacks. You're going Dorian Thompson-Robinson. You're going Anthony Brown. I'm putting Jaden Daniels on this poll question just because I don't know. He's been there, but his stats are awful. They haven't been that good.
If Chance Nolan puts up similar numbers and keeps Oregon State in the game at USC this week,
without a doubt,
then
I'm right
his
there with
name
you.
is definitely on the list.
Yeah, then he might be. If they win at USC and he plays well, he might be the best one in the conference. I'll give you that. There is that certain aspect of, you've seen some of these guys be like, you saw DTR play pretty good. I know it was mainly run game, but he beat LSU.
Yeah. You've
seen, Tanner McKee went into USC and they lit him up. They had the one long run, but he was really efficient that night.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Brown was great on the road against Ohio State. You've seen a lot of these guys battle tested at least early in the year. And that's the only thing I'm waiting for Nolan, but we'll find out this weekend. He has played great. He's built up his confidence. They seem to be humming as an offense. Now you got to go test it against a team that's a formidable opponent that just came off their best win of the season.
All right, a couple more thoughts on this, and then I want to talk a little NFC West before we get to the Daily Ticker. We'll do that next on The Fan.
If you had some extra money right now, what would you spend it on? Would you treat yourself to something now? Or put it towards something special? Treat yourself with the savings you'll get from participating in the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. Our rebates help your dollars go further so you can spend more on the things you enjoy. Visit peoplesgasrebates.com/treat and learn how much you can save with the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. That's peoplesgasrebates.com/treat.
Hi, I'm Ellen Pompeo, and I would like to introduce you to my new podcast, Tell Me. I'm going to invite people that I find interesting to come on and tell me their stories. That's where Tell Me comes from. Listen and follow Tell Me, a podcast presentation of Cadence 13, with me, Ellen Pompeo, now for free on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
New this week on Curiosity Stream. Witness the meteoric rise of YouTuber Jimmy Donaldson, a.k.a. Mr. Beast, made famous by his jaw-dropping charity.
We'd like to give you $10,000. This is where things get fun.
On a new episode of Beyond the Spotlight. Plus, meet unique people with the world's most incredible brains on a new season of Secrets of the Brain. Check them out on CuriosityStream.com. Annual plans are just $20. That's $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com now.
I do think when you look at the conference and why it sucks so much, I think it is because of that position. It's a conference, Dirt, that's had so many historically great quarterbacks. And there's just not been a ton of great ones. Like, I'm trying to think in my head, post Mariota, how has this conference been at that position? It's, there's some players that give you some moments, but this hasn't been great.
Let me go back and look at some stat lines from years past. You had Jared Goff. Wasn't great in college,
not
but
great
he ended
in
up at least
college.
being an number one overall pick.
Yeah, but we all saw that and was kind of like, I don't know about that. I watched him play at Cal. I don't know.
You had Josh Rosen, Luke Falk in that mix as well. What else? Sam Darnold for a couple of years there at USC was pretty good.
Yeah.
Herbert, and the Herbert was always disappointing, I think, collegiately.
Well, he just never really reached, I think, the full potential in college because of, multiple coaches, different systems. But he's one that had the right system, like if he would have had Joe Moorhead as a freshman until he was his last year, I mean, he'd probably go down as one of the all-time best.
Yeah, a different offense. He had the 1 year of Gardner Minshew, which was a lot of fun at Washington State. But to your point, Jacob Eason came in and was somewhat of a disappointment, similarly not quite living up to the hype and the potential there. You haven't had one of those household names, it feels like. Probably Sam Darnold, probably the last one. Herbert was close, but again, never quite put it all together in college, and I don't think that's all on him because we've seen what he's capable of in the NFL. And it's a conference that has long prided itself in that position. And it's been one of the things that at least where you can't stack up, size and strength-wise with the Big Ten or the SEC, we used to have that at least to lean on as fans of look how good the quarterback play is out here on the West Coast. We used to make fun of the SEC for how bad their quarterback play was. And now all these great quarterbacks from California are going out and starting for SEC schools. And our guys who are supposed to be established starters are all struggling, it feels like.
I think a big reason you look at the conference, it's that position. When somebody asks me Pac-12 why it doesn't stack up, I'm going to say it's because of quarterback play. It's inconsistent. I put a poll question up on this. Look, it's 30 votes in. I am stunned. The leader in the clubhouse is Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I can't quite go there right now. The way he's playing,
he's shown me nothing. What has he shown you to make you think he's the best one?
Dorian Thompson-Robinson deserves a vote ahead of him. Anthony Brown probably deserves a vote ahead of him. And I would argue at this point, the other option on that poll question deserves a vote ahead of Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
He has not played very well in any of their games. And you can look up and down. Like Arizona State losing that game, disappointing. Utah was supposed to have their quarterback situation figured out, the transfer in from Baylor, and look at all the numbers he put up. He was awful for them in their two losses.
Terrible.
And he's now out of a starting job. Cal has been a huge disappointment for us. And Garber, as well, his numbers aren't awful. He hasn't wowed. He hasn't looked like a 4-year starter for them. Dylan Morris has 5 interceptions through 3 weeks. That's awful. Hell, even Oregon State getting off to a bad start because Sam Neuer couldn't put it together in the first half, and it was too little too late. And maybe if you had better quarterback play, you win that game, and you're 3-0. And how different are you feeling if you win that game on the road against a Big Ten team? So that you can go up and Stanford. Like, what the hell was their quarterback play in week 1 against Kansas State? And all of a sudden, Tanner McKee's, and you're like, all right, there's Stanford now.
Right.
I recognize them again. So there's a lot of those moments that just are head scratchers and poor play from guys that you didn't quite, at least for some of them, you did not expect this kind of year early on.
No, bigger expectations for them. Speaking of expectations, the NFC West in the NFL was expected to be one of, if not the best divisions in football. Boy, oh boy, what a start. The only team with a loss is the Seahawks.
They had no business losing that game either, blowing a 14-point lead in the second half.
If you're a Seahawks fan, you're pretty pissed about that loss. Yeah. NFC West so far looking all the part, but I have no idea how to gauge the division. I feel like I have my own ranking, but I don't truly know how to feel about it because I think all of these teams, Seattle even in their loss, all of these teams have had moments of looking just incredible.
They have, and moments of not looking great, too. You play the Arizona card, right? They're 2-0, and we just talked about Kyler Murray. That was a makeable kick at the end of the game. They very easily could be 1-1.
Very true.
If Minnesota just knew how to kick a field goal late in a game, which they, for some reason, sorry Vikings fans, have never seemed to be able to do. So it's just funny how you look at little plays like that. You know, Seattle, I would argue, got totally hosed on a taunting call that kind of changed the complexion of that fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, Tennessee's right back in it. They're tied, and they put together a drive in overtime to win. The 49ers look great in the first half against Detroit, awful in the second half. They're banged up as all hell, and then really got off to a slow start against Philly. And they got kind of a benefit of a terrible fourth down call at the goal line. They gave up that huge pass play. They backed them all up to the 1 yard line. Philly gets all the way down to like the other two, and then on 4th and goal, they call like a Philly special wide receiver pass play.
Stupid play call.
And the guy throws the ball out of bounds, and the 49ers get it, and they kind of take control from the game from then on out. So they've all had moments of looking good and bad. I will change, though, and I think it needs to. You asked me last week, and we were talking like power rankings, the NFC West. I do put the Rams atop it. That has changed for me. Seattle, I thought, looked great in week 1, and I'm not going to overreact to them. That was such a Seahawk game for them to lose this weekend. Kind of saw that coming. I had some money on the Titans plus 6.5.
But the tough thing about the division, Dirt, is those games end up costing you. You can't, you can have Seahawk games, as you mentioned. There's no doubt they have those. Well, now you're the one team in the division with a loss. I still think other teams are going to suffer those at some point, but you just got to be careful. And now they're going on the road against a dangerous Minnesota team who's going to be all out desperate.
First home game of the year for them, too. But I would put the Rams atop that. I mean, they looked the part in blowing out a bad Chicago team on Sunday night, and then you go on the road. And that game should not have been 27-24. For Colts bettors, you take it. Like, hey, take that 3.5 and you run with it if you got it at 3.5.
Yeah.
Like, but a deflected punt in your own end zone leading to a that was such a weird, dumb moment that should not have happened and won't happen in 99 out of 100 NFL games. Stafford looks the part. Their running game has not suffered the way that we thought it would with all their injuries up there. Or back there, I should say. Cooper Kupp has been amazing. We know the talent that they have on the defensive side of the ball. The Rams deserve that top spot, at least for now, because they've looked the part through the first 2 weeks of the season.
Got a couple responses on the Pac-12 quarterback, and a couple of these to be expected. Jaron Hall, Jake Haener being thrown in there.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
They've both dominated the Pac-12 and played rather well against the Pac-12. So, we've got independents and group of 5 teams with better quarterback play than the Pac-12.
Hall has been really fun to watch at BYU.
I mean, Haener, same thing. Yeah. I don't know how you pick between Hall and Haener. They're both incredible to watch. Did we find an update on Haener's injury? Didn't he have a break in his hip? Like, what was the outcome of that injury?
He's just an old man with a broken hip now.
He could barely stand. I mean, he wanted to lean over and just lay down. He couldn't even barely stand.
That was painful to watch him try and move around, let alone put together multiple game-winning drives after those hits.
That dude threw a game-winning touchdown and drive in 50 seconds on UCLA on the road with a broken hip. That is, that's legendary stuff.
It is. People texted in Jake Browning, from that time period that we were talking about. Who were the good Pac-12 quarterbacks?
Look, I'm not to say we didn't have some good ones. We had some good ones. Herbert was a good one. Browning had some moments. Like Darnold, to your point. I guess my overall thing is every year it felt like this conference could rely on that position. And somewhere in the last few seasons, it's just dropped. We have, like, USC kind of leads this too. They haven't had it. It's, it's hit and miss. It's,
well, now you do. I mean, you legitimately have a quarterback controversy at USC. If Keaton Slovis comes back this week and starts slow, because I think that's been the talk out of LA, they still want him to start, and his injury wasn't as bad as they thought. So if you come out and he throws maybe a pick early, they're not moving the ball the way they think they should be moving the ball. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they throw the kid in there and say, dude, just go sling it around, man. You were great up in the Palouse on Saturday. Do it again against Oregon State this weekend.
Yeah, but there's a quarterback controversy at every school except like 3.
Yeah, not many feel solidified in their position. It's not good.
It's not good at all.
Not good.
All right, Daily Ticker is next. We got a big college football game. Hoping to go to Indy, so still working on that. But A&M is going on the road to Arkansas. Arkansas is hosting. Arkansas is good at football again. I love this. They haven't been good since what? Darren McFadden. We
yeah.
going back to those days?
I think they got up to number 2 in the rankings that in the one year. They were great.
They were so fun to watch.
So fun. Who was the other back there? It was Darren McFadden and
Felix Jones.
That's right.
Speedy Felix Jones.
God, they were awesome. The two back set, they were both back there. You never knew who was going to get it.
I know.
They were awesome to watch.
So we'll go there for the Daily Ticker and check in with how they're doing over there, and then we'll do that next.
If you had some extra money right now, what would you spend it on? Would you treat yourself to something now? Or put it towards something special? Treat yourself with the savings you'll get from participating in the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. Our rebates help your dollars go further so you can spend more on the things you enjoy. Visit peoplesgasrebates.com/treat and learn how much you can save with the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. That's peoplesgasrebates.com/treat.
Have you cut the cord and are feeling bored with your streaming services? CuriosityStream can help. With thousands of documentary films and TV shows, let CuriosityStream put the science back in your screen time, astound you with history come to life, and wildlife that will reach out and grab you. We've got the fix for your nonfiction addiction. Watch us on any device, anywhere you are. Visit CuriosityStream.com to sign up and start streaming now.
Man, there are a lot of podcasts out there.
Definitely. I mean, there's 3 million shows, 50 million episodes, and more every day.
I mean, who has the time to figure out which ones are the best podcasts?
We do. That's who. What's up, guys? I am Alicia Renee.
And I'm Dax Holt.
And we are your hosts of Pod Sauce, a podcast discovery show.
Look at us as your podcast concierge.
We do all the work for you. We listen to the shows, review them,
pick the best episodes, and interview the hosts.
Pod Sauce. Let us help you find your next binge. Tell them where to go, Dax.
Go to podsauce.com.
In this wide world of sports, some stories can slip through the cracks.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules.
This is the Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague visit the insiders that are covering the stories you've heard about, and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Actually, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
All right, it's Daily Ticker time here on a Tuesday, and one of the big matchups in college football this weekend, flying under the radar, not for me though, Texas A&M and Arkansas, and it's at 12:30 on CBS. Texas A&M a slight favorite, but Arkansas off to a great start this year. They're 3-0, that great win over Texas, the awesome scene, and now they take on Texas A&M this weekend. Joining us now is Scotty Bordelon of WholeHogSports.com at NWA Scotty on Twitter. Go give him a follow. Scotty, thanks for the time, man. I don't want to go too far back in the rearview mirror for you, but I do have to ask, like, that was maybe, I know the Penn State wideout's going to get a lot of attention from this past weekend against Auburn, but that Arkansas-Texas atmosphere is up there as maybe the best in all of college football that I've seen so far. What was that like, just kind of soaking that up, and what did that win mean, knowing that it's an old rivalry that will be renewed in, who knows how long when Texas is back in the SEC?
Yeah, it was a pretty unbelievable atmosphere. I was in college. I went to school at Arkansas, and when Bobby Petrino, my freshman year was Bobby Petrino's last year. And in those days, students would camp out, outside the stadium along Stadium Drive, along Frat Row, camp out for games just to get good seats, in the student section. And, for about a decade, that didn't really happen a whole lot here because there's, not a ton of excitement around the football program. But that was a weekend where, students camped out several days ahead of time, and they were rowdy. Like, the crowd was really fun. And then, obviously Arkansas really took care of business. They won kind of in a fashion that I don't think anybody really expected. And then there was just kind of an outpouring of joy on the field afterwards with, thousands upon thousands of people storming the field. It was pretty incredible. And Sam Pittman, just in a really short amount of time has, given Arkansas fans, a reason to kind of, puff their chest out a little bit. And that was his first signature win. And, I think, things are kind of looking up for this program right now.
Oh, and Scotty, I mean, you look at them, the system they run with Pittman. I mean, KJ Jefferson had a big game against Georgia Southern, but their win over Texas was really all on the ground, 333 yards rushing for Arkansas. The kind of balance I'd imagine Pittman was looking to establish here in Arkansas. Do you feel like, though, the Razorbacks in a pivotal must-win game like the one they played this weekend, can they trust KJ Jefferson to win a game for them?
Yeah, I think Sam Pittman, it seems like every week and every time he's asked about KJ Jefferson, he says he's my quarterback. And so I think the belief and the trust in him is obviously there with the coaching staff and with Kendall Browse, the offensive coordinator. And I think he's got the trust of his teammates and the belief of his teammates because he's behind the scenes, he's a pretty fun guy, a lot of personality. But when it's time to, kind of get down to business, he can really be laser focused. He's been really good. KJ has this year throwing the ball down the field. They kind of let him loose a little bit against Georgia Southern. I think he was 4 of 7 on deep balls. And, the first 2 weeks, I think he only threw 4 deep balls. So they were just, trying to see, what was there. He's got plenty of arm. It's just sometimes with him, it's about accuracy. But I think the biggest thing with KJ is he becomes a better thrower when he gets a little bit of action going with his legs. He is a big-time weapon with his feet. You look at him, he's like 6'3", and, he's pushing 250 pounds. I mean, he's a load to bring down. But he's got deceptive speed, and when he gets in the open field, he's really good about reading his blocks. He's got great vision and feel. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Dak Prescott, the way that he runs. So that's obviously a good thing. I don't think the moment this Saturday is going to be too big for him. I think they'll go in with a pretty good plan of kind of like Texas. He'll take what the defense gives him, and then they'll take a couple shots here and there. But I think they've got all the confidence in the world in him.
Yeah, we're talking with Scotty Bordelon. He covers Arkansas for WholeHogSports.com, which is just a great website name. At NWA Scotty on Twitter. Go give him a follow. Arkansas hosts Texas A&M this weekend, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I think it's in Dallas. Is that game in Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay, it's in Dallas. Okay, so they're not hosting, but still going to be a great atmosphere to watch. When Sam Pittman was hired, that flew totally on the radar for us out here on the West Coast. Just kind of don't even pay attention to it. Now you look at it, you're like, all right, he's 3-0, and looking at his history, like this is a guy that, correct me if I'm wrong, was only a head coach like for 2 years at a junior college in the 90s. Like he went a long time without being a head coach. He bounced around a lot of SEC programs and a lot of good college programs, but what was the reaction when he was hired, and how do they feel about it, obviously, now, going into year 2 here?
Yeah, right now it looks like kind of a brilliant hire. But you're right. He was a head coach in high school in Missouri, and, he was, position coach at several different places. I remember one press conference earlier in his tenure here. Somebody asked him to go down through his coaching history. He's been an assistant coach, offensive line coach, that kind of thing for a while. He was offensive line coach at Arkansas, I believe, from, I think when Brett Bielema was here. And so he had, he loved it here. Him and his wife loved it here. So when they got the chance to come back, it was kind of a no-brainer for him. And kind of a funny story, a couple of offensive linemen that Pittman coached at Arkansas kind of started this anonymous campaign, wrote a letter, sent it to the athletic director, kind of vouching for Sam Pittman, with the belief that, he could instill some toughness and kind of get Arkansas back to like a blue collar type program that it can be. And, Hunter Yurchek, the AD, took a shot on him. And he's genuine, he's down to earth. And, I kind of sound like his publicist right now, but the guy's he brought a belief back to the state and the program that's made a lot of people proud, and he's got the program moving in the right direction. Yeah. And he last year he played a 10-game All SEC schedule, won 3 games. I think they'd won 4 SEC games in the last 2 or 3 years with Chad Morris. It was really, Arkansas was at a low point when they hired Sam. And, I guess you could equate it out to one full regular season under Pittman after the Texas game, and he's got him back at the top 25. So he's done a pretty brilliant job here.
All right, Scotty, tell me, are you laying the money on the Hogs for the upset or at +5.5, or do you think A&M, this is going to be a course correction? Arkansas was fun. They had a good moment against Texas, but A&M ends up being the juggernaut many thought they would be preseason.
Texas A&M still had Haynes King at quarterback. I would probably go with Texas A&M. but with them working in, Zach Calzada, their backup, he didn't inspire a lot of confidence when he came in at Colorado, and they asked him to throw it 38 times, I think, which was kind of odd to me. But he settled in, I think, last week against New Mexico. I'm picking Arkansas in this game because in the offseason, they really revamped their defensive line. They got 3 guys from the transfer portal that have been immediate impacts. And I just think Arkansas's defensively, I think they're going to be able to make Calzada uncomfortable, put pressure on him, kind of make him think on his feet. It's about time. Arkansas's lost 9 straight in this series, so I feel like they're due for a win in this series, and I think a really good front 7 defensively for Arkansas. I think that makes a difference.
Another big opportunity for them, man. It'd be crazy to knock off a couple of ranked teams, including a top 10 team. It'd be wild to see how far Arkansas could climb up the rankings. We did our own kind of show poll yesterday, and I had them ranked in the top 10, man. I think they deserve it the way they're playing, and they get another shot this weekend against Texas A&M. Scotty Bordelon is his name, covers the Hogs for WholeHogSports.com, NWA Scotty on Twitter. Thanks for the time, man. Last second, we really appreciate it, and enjoy that game this weekend. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
There you go. A little Arkansas football talk. I know it's a random stop, but there's not a lot. It's not a great slate of national college football this weekend in terms of like your just for example, your ABC primetime game of the night is West Virginia, Oklahoma.
Yeah, maybe West Virginia can get Oklahoma, who's kind of struggled out of the gate, but
that's your big game for ABC.
This is the big game for me. I think
I can't wait to watch this.
They've got a great chance to upset A&M. A&M's going to the backup quarterback who their starter got hurt against Colorado. They didn't look particularly impressive against Colorado, who just got blanked by Minnesota. And then, look, I think they ended up covering or getting right to that number, but they won this weekend 34-0. I think there's a real opportunity here for Arkansas to make a little noise and maybe get back to the Darren McFadden years.
Yeah, your 9 a.m. big nooner on Fox is Notre Dame and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's already lost. Notre Dame's been kind of eking out wins. So those are your marquee games of the weekend, if you will. Notre Dame, Wisconsin, West Virginia, Oklahoma, and then this one, which I am most excited for. And there was something that came up in that interview that I remembered I wanted to talk about this week because it was the common agreement from all fans from this past weekend, and yet we're already losing it 1 week later. And I want to get to that coming up next. We'll get back into the NFL. We got the mail sack at 8:15. Get your questions in 503-250-1080. But a lesson from this weekend that I hope we can learn. That's next on The Fan.
If you had some extra money right now, what would you spend it on? Would you treat yourself to something now? Or put it towards something special? Treat yourself with the savings you'll get from participating in the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. Our rebates help your dollars go further so you can spend more on the things you enjoy. Visit peoplesgasrebates.com/treat and learn how much you can save with the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. That's peoplesgasrebates.com/treat.
New this week on Curiosity Stream. Witness the meteoric rise of YouTuber Jimmy Donaldson, a.k.a. Mr. Beast, made famous by his jaw-dropping charity.
We'd like to give you $10,000. This is where things get fun.
On a new episode of Beyond the Spotlight. Plus, meet unique people with the world's most incredible brains on a new season of Secrets of the Brain. Check them out on CuriosityStream.com. Annual plans are just $20. That's $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com now.
The climate crisis is here. Time's slipping away to stop the worst effects of global warming, and we need solutions. Hosted by me, Molly Wood, How We Survive dives deep into the economics, the tech, and the human stories behind those solutions. From billionaires trying to monopolize lithium mines to business rivalries so fierce that one CEO was dragged off a plane by federal authorities. How We Survive, following the money to the end of the world because our survival might depend on it. Listen on Odyssey and everywhere you get your podcasts.
It's wild to think of Sam Pittman and what he's done. Now, it's only 3 years into year 2. But
Three years into year 2?
Or 3 games, sorry. 3 games into year 2. Looking at his track record, like that guy, the only other time he's been a head coach in his entire career was at the Hutchinson Community College in 1992 and 1993.
It's a great story.
That's it. That's all he's got. Every other year it's been offensive line coach, assistant head coach. Just kind of bound. He was at Arkansas. He was at Tennessee. He was at Georgia. He's at North Carolina. He's at Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Cincinnati. Just jumped around from job to job to job. And they hired him. And it's just an amazing fit, at least so far. And a really cool story out of Arkansas. But I was reminded of something. I saw this take a lot over the weekend, and then I was really bummed because I didn't realize that game was being played in Dallas.
Uh-huh.
Like, why? This kind of stuff drives me nuts. You know what everybody tweeted out Saturday night?
Well, I can tell you why. It's Jerry Jones.
Everybody tweeted out Saturday night, wow, this is the whiteout between Auburn and Penn State. What a great atmosphere. If this game was played in insert corporate stadium here, it's nowhere near the same. It's an okay game. Mm-hmm. It's a back and forth, close score, sure. I mean, that wasn't an all-time classic, but what made it fun to watch? The fact that you had a whiteout and a crowd going crazy every time something big happened. You had the same thing in week 2 with Oregon and Ohio State, a great atmosphere when they're trying to come back late in the fourth quarter. If that game is played in Atlanta, you don't get the same vibe. It's just different, and it's a corporate setting. And I saw a lot of people tweeting this weekend just how great it was to have an actual true home and home with an atmosphere. And Arkansas, Texas is a prime example of that as well. The Jerry Jones thing's whatever, dude. I hate that crap. The atmosphere is not going to be anywhere near as cool as it could have been as if you were playing this game in Fayetteville or playing this game in College Station and you had the crowds going crazy for 4 quarters.
Well, you do a big disservice to your fans.
We need to shoot these games to the moon, man. I'm so tired of these corporate, NFL stadium games.
Well, you're basically telling your fan base you don't care about them.
Yeah, you don't get a home game.
I know Oregon's playing next year against Georgia, and they're playing at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome or whatever that thing is called. Like, Oregon won't say this. You're telling us you don't care about your fan base. Like, either do a home and home
or don't play it.
Or don't play it.
Yeah.
Like, do you benefit at all playing at a neutral site that's largely really just a home game masquerading as a neutral site? And for Arkansas, I don't get this one. I know it's Jerry Jones because he's an Arkansas guy and it's being played in Dallas. There's obviously a Jerry connection there. But why would you play a conference game that far away from your home stadium, and you're supposed to be the home team? So this is like when Wazoo would do this from time to time. They would have they'd have big conference games and they would play them in Seahawk Stadium.
Yeah, they played Oregon a couple of times at Seahawk Stadium.
Yeah, you're giving Oregon a huge leg up. Oregon doesn't have to travel all the way to Pullman. They can take either a bus or direct flight to Seattle and be good. Why would you do this if you're a team? I don't know why Pittman and the officials over at Arkansas agreed to do this. I can't fathom you're really bringing in that much more money. And if anything, you're giving Texas A&M the home game.
You're giving them the opportunity for more fans. You tell
the only other aspect I can think of it.
I want to double check to make sure Arkansas. Yeah, I think Arkansas is supposed to be the home team.
Yeah. That's why I thought when we had them on, because you just look at the scoreboards and the way they shake out. They are considered the home team.
I
this
don't
week.
get this at all. It's so stupid.
The only
I saw Arlington. I was like, wait a minute, what?
possible thing I can think of is going right into Dallas for recruiting. Like, you're going to host a whole bunch of recruits. That's the only other plausible thing where you get an advantage out of it.
But hold on. But to that, I would say Arkansas is going to recruit the talent Arkansas is going to get. They're not taking recruits from Texas. They're not taking recruits from Oklahoma, A&M. I don't know if that recruiting angle is enough.
That's what I said. I don't know. Maybe you set it up where you host a whole bunch of
But when
Dallas
you want them on,
area
I would
kids.
rather have kids come
I
to my
would too.
campus to see what campus life is like on a game day.
Yeah, I'd rather have them fly in to see. Like, that atmosphere against Texas was electric. If for anybody to watch that game, that was so fun to see, dude. Those fans were so fired up.
This is Jerry Jones.
Here. Yeah, no, I know Jerry is the big.
Fly his ass into Fayetteville.
What do you mean fly him? He is a billionaire.
What are we doing? Why do we need to play in his stadium? Come back to Fayetteville, you old bag. Come hang on the sideline. We don't need to go play in your stadium.
This weird obsession in this country where super rich people, we need to give them the things to entice them.
It just, I don't know. I saw that take a lot over the weekend. I was reminded of it and then bummed to find out because I was excited to watch, excited to watch this game in Arkansas on Saturday. And now, look, it's still going to be a good game. I'm still going to watch 12:30 on CBS, but it lessens it. There's no doubt. And I'm hoping that this is a trend that we can get away from. It's never going to happen. It's my pie in the sky. Make me the commissioner of college football. This is one of the things that I would do. If you want to play a good non-conference matchup, reach an agreement that we'll come to your stadium, you come to our stadium. And if you're not willing to do that for some teams, then we're not willing to play you. We're not going to do it. We're not going to come to your neck of the woods just to play a non-conference game, a one-off. And I know this for fans too. Like, I got a lot of people that I know that are, obviously diehard Ducks or diehard Beavers. A lot of Beaver fans who've traveled to big games over the years. Oregon has had a few more of them the last handful of years, but I know people who don't like doing season tickets anymore just because it's a grind and you got to go down every weekend at the tailgate. Just there's a lot that goes into it. So I know a lot of folks who have gone from, instead of going to every home game, maybe you pick one home game a year, but use that money that you were spending and do it big for a big road trip game. Like go to the big non-conference game or go to a big conference game that year that's on the road. Dude, if you polled fan bases all over the country, would you rather go watch your team play in an NFL stadium, or would you rather go into the atmosphere of that school and see what the game day is like and see what the stadium's like and get to experience something and knock it off your bucket list? It's 100% people would rather go to see Ohio State Stadium than go play that game in Indianapolis in a dome.
Yeah.
Or go see Georgia in Athens, play that game in their stadium, then go watch a game at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Or go to a game at Auburn instead of flying down and seeing a game at Jarrah's World. Like, I hate these for college football, and especially for conference matchups, that makes even less sense. You get to bowl games, you get to conference championship games, by all means, play them in big stadiums. You don't want a home field advantage. I get that. Regular season games, dude, fire these things into the moon. I'm sick and tired of them. That sucks on Saturday. Feel for the Arkansas folks, although I am rooting for them. It'd be great. You imagine Arkansas goes 4-0 with wins over Texas and Texas A&M.
You beat A&M. It's legit okay to say, hey, how good can Arkansas be?
They climb into the top 10? You kidding me? Here comes, what if Arkansas wins the SEC this year? Let's do this, Arkansas. They got Georgia. Look at here's their next couple of games. A&M this week in Arlington. Then they go to Georgia. Then they go to...
They're not beating Georgia.
You never know.
You're not beating Georgia.
Then they go to Ole Miss. Then they get Auburn at home.
They can beat Auburn.
That's a tough stretch. And then they close on the 13th and 20th in November with games at LSU and at Alabama.
So they had Texas.
God, that's a brutal schedule.
Hold on. So this was their schedule.
Yes.
Texas,
and
Texas A&M,
yes.
LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Auburn,
Ole Miss. Who's now ranked 13th in the country.
Those are 7 of their 12 games.
That's a brutal schedule, man.
What are they doing? If they become bowl eligible, that's an incredible year.
That it is. All right, we got a lot to get to in the final hour of the show. Mail sack coming up, excuse me, at 8:15. We'll get your questions. Send them on in, sports or non-sports related, and we will answer them. I want to start. I also have a note on, are we finally finding the solution that we can all agree on? And I'll tell you what that is. We'll get to that coming up at like 8:30. I want to play a fun game out of the NFL. 87% of these teams can't do it, but can any this year? We'll start there. Final hour. Don't go anywhere. Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
If you had some extra money right now, what would you spend it on? Would you treat yourself to something now? Or put it towards something special? Treat yourself with the savings you'll get from participating in the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. Our rebates help your dollars go further so you can spend more on the things you enjoy. Visit peoplesgasrebates.com/treat and learn how much you can save with the People's Gas Energy Efficiency Program. That's peoplesgasrebates.com/treat.
Have you cut the cord and are feeling bored with your streaming services? CuriosityStream can help. With thousands of documentary films and TV shows, let CuriosityStream put the science back in your screen time, astound you with history come to life, and wildlife that will reach out and grab you. We've got the fix for your nonfiction addiction. Watch us on any device, anywhere you are. Visit CuriosityStream.com to sign up and start streaming now.
Hey, Bears fans, are you ready for a real cocktail? Zing Zang, Chicago's #1 Bloody Mary mix, now has Bloody Marys with premium vodka already included in a can. This is the perfect Zing Zang Bloody Mary for your game day tailgate or your home bar. Keep the party going with Zing Zang's canned margaritas and bourbon whiskey sours. They have something for everyone. Pick up your Zing Zang canned cocktails today at Binny's, Meyer, or Woodman's. Zing Zang, a proud partner of Bears Radio. Please Zing Zang responsibly.